And just like that, the Minnesota polls are open. Now, I know that the 2023 election definitely doesn't have the fireworks of, let's say, last year's election or definitely next year's election, but hang on. Because there is some serious stuff on the ballot during 2023's year. We have school board races going on. We have city shenanigans going on. We have different levies on the ballot. And now I understand. You may not think this topic is super fun. And trust me, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it truthfully is something we need to pay attention to. And today I have some insider info that is definitely going to help you out. Maybe even helping you keep those phone calls and door knocks at bay. Stick around because it's about to get interesting. Hi, I'm Jenna Dix, and I'm always rambling. Just ask my husband. I have a great family and a pretty cool life, but I'm a recovered alcoholic. That's hard to say, but my goal is to inspire and educate to help others hopefully find life beyond an addiction. I'm all things: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Getting healthy, momming, and politics. Get offended easily? You better stop listening. There is no point in wasting that Botox by stressing yourself out listening to a podcast. Welcome to Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Today's episode brought to you by products and services I'm thoroughly addicted to. Hey there, memory makers and candid capturers. Are you looking for a photographer who turns every moment into a work of art? Look no further than Catherine Smith Photography. From senior photos that capture the essence of your student's unique journey to a heartwarming family photo shoot that freezes time with every click, Catherine has a knack for making your memories last a lifetime. Our family has actually trusted Catherine for years to capture our most amazing memories, including our wedding all the way to our photo shoots for our family every single year. And we cannot get enough of her incredible work. She brings a fun, lighthearted vibe to every photo session, making the experience as unforgettable as the photos themselves. So whether you're celebrating a senior milestone, gathering the family for a portrait perfect moment, letting the kids be kids in a playful shoot, or saying I do with the love of your life, Catherine Smith Photography has got you covered. Book your session today and create memories that you will never forget. Capture the joy, capture the love, capture life with Catherine Smith Photography. Catch Catherine's information down below in the show notes. Hey, welcome to today's podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. And I'm loving the fact that you're willing to stick with me on a topic that I know is definitely not everyone's favorite or the most exciting thing in the world. But as I said, today we're going to be talking about some things that truthfully every U.S. citizen should be a little bit more knowledgeable on. So as we dive in, please make sure that you are following or subscribed to the podcast on whatever podcasting app you follow on. That way, it automatically downloads any new shows that I put out, and you don't even have to think about it. Like I said, not a super fun topic today. And people are probably like a marketing person listening would be like, oh my Lana, what is this girl saying? Talk about horrible marketer for her own podcast, right? But I'm going to be transparent. I get that a lot of people hear topics that relate to politics or current events and they're like, ew, so not for me. That's like for the political nerds out there. But it is important that we are citizens that are aware of what's going on. And like I said, right, today we're going to go over some information that is more logistical in the aspect of making sure that you are an educated voter. And honestly, understanding why it is important to utilize that early voting period. Because like I said, when I open this, right, polls are open. And you're thinking, wait, what the heck? Isn't election day in November? Yeah, it is. But polls are now opening in advance. And you can go and vote early. And today, like I said, I'm going to give you some spoilers on why you should do this, including if you don't love political phone calls and people knocking on your door, you're going to want to hear some of these spoilers. So we're going to jump right in. You know, if it's information that not everybody's going to love, let's just get right to it and get through it, right? Almost like those classes that you have to go through in high school or college, or like, oh, can we just get to it, rock through it, and be done? And now I know the information, I can utilize it, and the actual act of sitting there is behind me, right? At least that's how I roll in life. So we're going to jump right in. So some people are coming into this already and they're thinking, wait a minute, holy cow, like I guess I didn't even think about that election season is here, especially if you're not a political nerd like me. It's not something you like eat, sleep, breathe, right? And you're like, oh my goodness, there is an election. You're right. What the hell am I voting on? What is my area even focusing on? Okay. Well, that's definitely going to depend on your area. So you need to look up, okay, what's on the ballot in my area? A lot of areas in Minnesota right now, they have school board races going on. I know that there's a lot of city races going on. There's different levies. There's different special ballot questions going on. So you're going to have to check, okay, what are we voting on the ballot this year in my specific community, right? So for example, where I live in Minnesota, we are voting on school board candidates, and I just did it this morning. I think it was 3 different levies for the school district. So it was still a front and back ballot because the questions still took up a pretty decent chunk of space, but that's all it was. 3 quick questions and then doing the, what 3 candidates am I going to select from this list? Okay. So, all right. Well, Jenna, once I know what's on the ballot, how do I figure out how to vote, right? Well, I could just sit here and tell you, but no, that's not how it works, right? You need to make sure that you are voting in a way that's in alignment with you. And I can tell you this, it's hard sometimes, especially on years like this one where, well, these are nonpartisan, elections for the most part. There might be a special election out there or something of that sort. But when you're walking into voting for, city officials or school board, technically they're nonpartisan. So it's not just, well, I'm quote unquote a Republican or I'm quote unquote a Democrat. Okay. No, now I need to actually figure out, what does this person represent, right? Or these questions, which side do they more so align with? And I can say, even with that being said, you sometimes, there may be something on the ticket that you're like, oh, I typically vote more conservative, but for some reason this XYZ candidate or this XYZ question just really speaks to me, or I'm really feeling strongly about it, right? So I sat down and I was like, okay, what are the best ways to kind of educate yourself, right? And I jotted down 9 different things that help me, right? From day 1 to today. And day 1, you got to remember, I have been like on the fast track of politics. Like I want to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can, and get involved in as many things as I possibly can. And we're talking like a 3-year window now. So 3 years ago is still something that I can very actively remember. And these were steps that I was even incorporating back then. So the first tip is you want to research the candidates or those ballot items online. So check out their websites. Candidates definitely typically have websites. A lot of these ballot questions have initiatives behind them that have websites attached. Social media, same thing. So you want to check their social medias. Main thing you're looking for is, okay, what are their platforms? What are the pieces that they're really talking about or encouraging or pushing? Am I aligned with that? Or do I read their platform and think, oh my goodness, gross, right? So make sure you're checking them out, researching candidates or questions online first. This is going to give you, what they're saying, what their platform really looks like. Number 2, attend campaign events. So this is more so for candidates, but let's say you go look them up online and you're thinking, wow, this candidate really has some platform pieces that I really dig on. Like, I can completely agree. Okay, maybe get yourself to one of their events so you can meet this person in person, belly to belly. Shake their hand, hear them speak. Really feel them out for what your thoughts are on them. So, they do a lot of meet and greet events. Candidates are busy people. Last year, that was one of my roles within the campaign I was working on, was scheduling the candidate I was working for. And granted, he was a gentleman that was running for a state-held office, one of the 4 state-held offices. So he had a really busy schedule. Local candidates, obviously a little bit different, but still rather busy. I'm obviously in close contact with one of our local school board candidates, Jamie Kakaisel. Hence, I had her on this podcast, I don't know, like 3 episodes ago. And the girl is busy. Like, I see all the events she's going to. So the candidates are definitely out and about. So make sure to try to attend one of their events. Number 3, watch their forums. So they're not really called debates anymore. Now, when candidates are sat down and questioned, they're called forums typically. And usually most races have some type of a forum where all the candidates sit down. In today's times lately, there's definitely been more instances where candidates decide not to go. To me, that speaks volumes about that person, and it makes me have a thought about them, unless there's like a huge, their mom died or something of that sort. But that's my personal opinion. You may think that I don't think they need to go to a forum. All right, that's your right to think that way, right? But definitely check out if there are forums being held. Watch them. And dude, a secret from another busy person, right? Watch it on YouTube later and hit 2 times speed so you can listen to it at fast-tracked pace, okay? So you can't complain, I just don't have time to watch that. Really? Watch it at 2 times speed when you're like folding the laundry. You totally have time to do that, okay? Number 4, cautiously check news sources. And I say this as a person that, all right. I'm a little jaded when it comes to news sources. Sometimes they say things and I'm like, are you effing joking me? And I think that a lot of people out there are getting to that point, especially more people on the conservative side. But there are some legit news sources still out there. And either way, make sure you're at least knowledgeable about the news that is out there. But don't just keep going to one news site or one news channel and checking it that way. Like, check a plethora. And I've talked about this in the past on plenty of episodes where I go more the political route with the topic of the day. But cautiously checking news sources, because it is still information you want to know, right? 5, check their voting records if it's a person that's an incumbent. So what that means is if this person already has been in office, whether it's this role or a different role, check their voting record. Did they vote a way that you're like, holy crap, what the heck? Or did they vote and you're like, wow, look at a lot of their votes. I can completely agree. It's usually a good way to measure out a candidate if they have that voting record. Are there instances where the person's like, oh my goodness, I've had a change of heart and, I don't believe that way anymore? Yeah, I'm sure. But, just use your common sense in those situations as well. Tip number 6, seek input from other local leaders. So if there's other local leaders in your area that you know, and they're knowledgeable about what's going on your ballot, get their opinion. Hey, representative, or hey, city council person, or hey, pastor, right? Get input from other local leaders that you trust. Number 7 kind of goes hand in hand with that to a point. Talk to your neighbors. Neighbors that you very much are aligned with. Talk to them. See what they're doing. See what they're thinking. See where they're landing. 8, call your political nerd friends. So if you have a friend like me or another person that's very knowledgeable on politics, current events, things of that sort, give them a call. See where they're landing. See what their thoughts are. Typically on these ones that are more community-based, if they're not in your area, they may not know. But sometimes they do, depending, right? So that one is kind of trusting your network, whether it be a leader, a neighbor, or that political nerd friend. And then my final number 9 tip here, check out the endorsements that the candidates received. Meaning, a lot of times organizations will quote unquote endorse a candidate. We are supporting XYZ candidate because they are most aligned with our organization and we believe they should win this election. Big elections like the police will give endorsements. Sometimes past candidates, sometimes current leaders, nonprofits a lot of times. With the school board races, there is a Minnesota Parents Alliance group, MPA, that is giving a lot, and they're more on the conservative side. They give endorsements, though, for school board candidates across the state. So it's always important to be like, hey, what endorsements did this candidate get, and do I align with that endorsement, right? Like, for example, and this is totally a me thing, but a lot of times if I see an endorsement coming from the school board, I'm like, pass. Or not the school board, pardon me. A slip of the tongue. The union, right? If I see endorsements coming from the teachers union, a lot of times I'm like, not my candidate. Because right now I'm very much not in alignment with a lot of things the teachers union is pushing. I am more in alignment actually with the teachers that have made the decision these last few years to be like, I do not want to be part of the union. I want to be a teacher. I want to take care of my students. I don't want to be part of the union because they're pushing things that I just don't align with. So if I see an endorsement coming from the teachers union, usually that's a sign for me to not support that candidate. Okay? All right. So once you've made your decision, you can wait for election day, or what I highly, highly encourage, vote early. And there's a few reasons to do this. Okay. The biggest one, right? Make sure your voice is heard. Go vote. And yeah, you can make sure you can do that on election day as well. But I don't know. I like to just get stuff done, right? So support democracy, do your civic duty, get your voice heard, and just go vote. The polls opened today, November 22nd in Minnesota. Pardon me, it is September, not November. So you have a little over a month, right? So just go get it done. Another reason 2, you get to avoid long lines. If you go vote early, usually there's very few people there. My husband and I already went and voted this morning at like 10 o'clock after we went to the gym. We literally were the only people in there. So we didn't have to wait for anybody. Which election day? Oh my goodness. At least at our precinct ballot spot, the lines were out the door. So save yourself some time. In addition to that, if you vote early, you get to accommodate your own schedule. Oh, you know what? Tuesdays are really empty days for me. I'm just going to go vote. Cool. Or, Thursdays at noon, my lunch, I can take an extra long lunch because my boss doesn't care. Go vote on Thursday during your lunch hour then. Number 4, peace of mind It's just done and over. You don't have to think about it anymore. Your ballot's already been taken care of. And I know a lot of people sometimes are like, I'll just do it on election day. And then their kid gets sick, or they get sick, or they get stuck at work late and they forget. Or all of a sudden their kid's like, hey mom, I forgot that I have this science project. We need to go to Walmart and buy all of these craft supplies and you need to help me with my science project. And you're like, well, shit, I was supposed to go vote and now I don't get to go vote. Right? So that's another reason, just peace of mind. It's done. You don't need to worry about it. Number 5, you are being a great example to other people in your circle that you also know vote, right? You're showing them, hey, get your civic duty done. You already did it. So you're encouraging others to do the same. And number 6 is kind of the fun one. Okay. And I'm going to go 2 ways with this. So let me break this down in easier to understand terms for myself. Ways that I kind of had to think about this, right? So essentially how it works, candidates their campaign teams receive lists of who needs to vote. And then it's essentially their job to reach out to those people and encourage them to vote for them. Whether it's through a phone call, a door knock, sending them a mailer, encouraging these people, hey, go vote for me. So if you vote early, it's good for 2 reasons when it comes to this topic piece, okay? The first half of it, let's say politics really aren't your jam, but you know it's important to vote. So if you go vote early, my friend, said candidates will have you removed from their list. And they will not be door knocking you. They will not be calling you. They will not be sending you mailers. So you will not be pestered as much, which if you're not a super political junkie is kind of like I kind of like that. Because when you go vote early, typically within 72 hours, your name is removed from those lists. Okay? Flip that, the other half of this, okay? And this is I'll be transparent, this is to a lot of my conservative peeps who are like, but Jenna, election day is like a holiday. Like we go vote on election day, it's a big deal. I hear you, okay? I get it, it's like the USA Day. You put your flag out, it's a big deal. But if you are that type of person, you already know what candidates you are going to vote for, you are supporting these candidates, you want them to win. If you go vote early, and yes, you still get to participate, right? Because you're still doing your civic duty. You're still voting. You're still plugging away at a ballot. You are giving your candidate actually a better chance of winning. And here's my rationale behind it. Because if you go vote early, your name gets removed from that list within the 72 hours, right? Let's say they're even behind and it takes like 4 days. Okay, whatever. Your name is then removed and your candidate then does not have to spend time calling you, reaching out to you through a door knock, spending money on a mailer to you. It is giving your candidate more time and more resources to be able to dial that in, focusing on people that may be on the fence. I don't know who I want to vote for. And then your candidate, because they didn't have to call you, they call this person, get them on the phone, and convince them, hey, I am the best person for the job. And that person then goes and votes for your candidate. You are freeing up time and resources for the person you want to win. And that is huge in politics. So, whether it be you just don't want to deal with a door knocker, or you'd rather somebody gets their door knocked that I'm not quite sure who I'm voting for, right? it is important to vote early. So, a bonus. Let's say you are that person on the second half of that you're like, I know what candidate I'm supporting. And I really want them to win. All right, so the biggest yet smallest action you can take is absolutely go vote for that person. Your vote means everything, right? But there are some above and beyond things that you could definitely do. You could offer to help out their campaign. You know, whether it's as little as putting a yard sign in your yard, or door knocking, lit dropping, making those phone calls. Reach out to other groups that are helping candidates. If it's not, I want to help the campaign itself, you know, reach out to other groups that are supporting candidates. The party. You can reach out to the party that you want to be aligned with. You can reach out to, like, for example, the local BPOUs, so the local Republican clubs. A lot of them are actually helping candidates even in these smaller elections. You know, and I definitely know that happens on the other side too. I just don't know exactly how to get involved in their actions in that way. And truth be told, I probably shouldn't even say it, right? Because, hello, I want my people to win. But you can get involved in more of the party side of things. There's a lot of action groups and nonprofits. They get involved and they do work. You can get involved there. Another one that you can do from the comfort of your own home, prayers. Offer prayers to these people. If you really support a candidate, they need all the support and all the spiritual support they can get. So pray. And my last one, so time, talent, treasure. Time, like donate your time, help their campaign, help a action group that's supporting them, things of that sort. Talent, you know, you're going to be utilizing your talent by helping their teams, helping their campaigns. And then treasure, offer donations. If you have the financial resources to be able to support your candidate, which they all need, do it. It helps buy those mailers. It helps buy yard signs. It helps fund, you know, the different lists that they may need. Every campaign can use money. End of the day. There are the ones out there that, yeah, absolutely can self-fund. But for the most part, especially in these smaller races, school boards, like, those are moms and dads. Just the normal, everyday mom and dad that could definitely use a little financial support. And if you're aligned with their vision, why not give them, you know, $20? And if you can afford more, absolutely. All right. There you have it, folks. I tried to get this one in and out because, like I said, I know it's not the most exciting topic. I know that politics, just in general, is not everyone's cup of tea. But you hung with me. You stuck with me through this episode, and hopefully you learned a little bit. So let's simplify that important point just one more time. If you vote early, your name is removed from the lists. So typically within like 3-ish days, no more incessant calls or unexpected door knocks. And even if you are a die-hard politico, remember, voting early, you are saving your candidate time and resources, essentially giving them an edge that they need to succeed. So, in my eyes, it's a win-win on either way, right? Either side you fall on there. So, if you are super pumped about a candidate or a cause, remember there are plenty of ways to dive in and support them. Get involved, offer your time, your prayers, your donations, and that ultimate piece, vote. So, whether you are a political guru or political nerd, as I like to say, because I can proudly say that because I am one, right? Or maybe you're just someone dipping your toes into the civic waters. Remember, every vote counts, and your voice truly does matter. I want to thank you so much for sticking with me, and remember, every single day, keep yourself wrapped in God's armor. Much love. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Remember, if you are battling an addiction, reach out for help and support. There are many resources available to assist in your journey towards recovery. Surround yourself with a supportive community and never give up on the path towards a healthier and happier life. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and joining me on this journey. As you heard, I'm always rambling. But seriously, thank you for your support and make sure to subscribe and follow my channel. I can't wait to share more with you on the next episode. Until then, keep on rambling. If you have found this podcast helpful and want to dive deeper into personal growth and self-improvement, be sure to head over to my website, jennadix.com. You'll find a wealth of resources there. There is a little less drugs, sex, and rock and roll these days, but whether you're interested in getting healthy, information on momming or parenting, or politics, jennadix.com has something for everyone. So, what are you waiting for? Head to jennadix.com today and start your journey towards personal growth and self-awareness. See you there.